Okay, look. I promised my mother that while I was in Latvia, I would come to the beach. So here's the beach. But it's kind of cheating, because this is not the Baltic. This is an inlet, or something. There are old pier posts here, moorings. But still, this doesn't count. There's sand. There's sand, and it is a beach. But I don't think it's what she had in mind. So, as much as it pains me to drive back, I almost think I broke a tie rod coming out here. I'll turn around, I'm going to go back, and I'm going to find a real beach. Because I promised. Okay. That thing I said earlier was an inlet. It wasn't an inlet, it was a river. That was actually where the Daugava comes down to the ocean. I was really close to the mouth of it. But it wasn't the ocean. I promised my mother I would come to the beach because somewhere she read that Baltic beaches have amber on them. And she wanted me to come to the beach and look for amber. Of course, when you have no idea what amber looks like, well, I looked it up, I Googled it. But you know what? Any of this stuff could be amber and I'd have no idea. I could walk across amber and I wouldn't know it. But I promised I would look. And I'm keeping my promise. This is a promise kept. That's the Baltic Sea. I finally found the Baltic Sea. I'm like 50 kilometers north of Riga. Supposedly there's a spot in Denmark, in the north end of Denmark, where the Baltic Sea meets the North Sea. And because their densities are different, they won't mix. They just, bam, they hit each other. There's like a line, literally a line in the ocean where the two seas meet. I'm going to be, in theory, I'm going to be in Denmark at the end of the week, but I'm not going to be able to go see that. I'm only going to be in Copenhagen. But anyway, here we are, the Baltic Sea. It's cold, it's gray. I mean, 2 days ago it was sunny, it was bright, perfect day for the beach. But no, I had to wait until today when the visibility is like 100 meters and it's cold. Oh well. Oh, yes, and I'm going to take it in the shorts when I fill the gas tank. Thanks, Mom. Isn't that like the coolest plaything for kids you ever saw? I mean, I guess if the water's too cold for the kids to get into it, they got to have something to do at the beach, right? That's pretty cool. What amazes me is that there are big, huge rocks all up and down this beach. I mean, everywhere I look, there's big rocks. But it's a very sandy beach, so why aren't these rocks washed down to sand? I mean, isn't thousands of years of wave erosion supposed to break those down? I don't know what these are. They look like swans. But they're huge. They have bodies that look like they're close to 1 meter long. And they're swimming in the ocean. I mean, they're like white flamingos swimming in the ocean. They're huge. They're flipping huge. They're the biggest geese I ever saw. I wonder what they're feeding on. You know, I can't lie. I'm actually glad I'm here. You know, I've been to Oregon, I've been to Washington, I've been to California. I've stood on the beach in all 3 states, but that's still the Pacific Ocean. I've got family that's been back to the East Coast and stood on the Atlantic Ocean. This is actually the first time I've ever been next to any other ocean. It's actually kind of nice because it's a gray day, there's nobody here. I got the whole beach to myself. The waves come in short and frequent. It's relaxing, makes a nice sound. I'm actually enjoying this. I could spend quite a bit of time here. Especially with the day I've had. It's nice. I think I needed something nice today. Well, as I'm sure you could have guessed, that it's late here. I'm trying to talk quiet because the walls of this hotel are pretty thin, and I don't know if there's anybody in the rooms next to me. As you could tell, I went to the beach in that time period between where the battery died, and then I came back 3 hours later. In that 3 hours, I went up to the beach. I wanted to keep my promise to my mother. I wanted to see the Baltic Sea. Of course, it figures that when I went to the ocean, it was gray and moody, and then I came back, and the sun came out, and it was beautiful. But it's okay that it was gray and moody because, you know, that was what my mood was. I was gray and moody. So, you know, it was what I needed to do. Went to the beach, took a little walk, talked to God, you know, thought about things. But there were a couple of really cool things that happened on the drive. When you get out in the country, it's a 2-lane road, but each lane is like a lane and a half. There's like a dotted line and there's like a shoulder. It's like a half lane or maybe a third of a lane. You know, like back in Oregon when you go over to the coast, it'll be 2 lanes. And then every now and then there'll be a pull-out, so slow-moving traffic can pull over, let the faster cars go by. Well, this road, because it's got the extra third of a lane, the whole thing is like that. You can pull over and let cars go past. So I'm in a line. First thing that was funny was I'm in a line of 3 cars. I'm behind a van, and the fog is super bad. I mean, it's really thick. It's like maybe 100 meters you can see, maybe, tops. And I'm pretty close to this van in front of me, but, you know, still reasonably distant. We're just tearing along through the fog. All of a sudden, this other van just comes shooting right up my ass. I look up my rearview mirror, and I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Jeez, we're going, you know. That thing was back there. Pretty soon, out of nowhere, it just went around me, around the other, around the other. All 3 cars like leapfrog. But as it went past, I looked at the license plates and I saw they said LT instead of LV, so they were Lithuanians. They weren't Latvians, they were Lithuanians. I just had this image in my mind of them, you know, cruising by, throwing gang signs or something, you know. Hey, you know, get out the way, bitches. We got places to go, things to see. This is how we roll, Lithuania, south side. They just into the fog. The other thing that was funny was, you know, at another point I was following a truck. There was a car in front of me and a truck, and, you know, the fog is ridiculous. I mean, you know, we're on the coast, and the truck pulls over into that little shoulder thing, and the car in front of me, he tears off. So, you know, he's like now half in our lane and half in the opposite lane. I'm like, damn, there's no visibility. What is he going to do if a car comes the other way? Sure enough, a car was coming the other way, and here he was, half in our lane, half in their lane. The truck's over here on this, you know, in this little shoulder half lane thing, and there they go. I'm like, oh crap. But that car just eased over into his little half lane, and they I watched that and I'm like, damn. Okay, well, you know what? I'm moving along just fast enough. I don't need to pass the truck. We'll just let that go. Well, so, you know, I'm thinking, okay, cool. Well, guess what? The truck stayed over, and I'm sitting thinking, well, he's waiting for me. And about 30 seconds later, I decided, you know what? I don't want to follow this truck either. So I got over. I'm half in my lane, half in the other lane. Sure enough, here comes another car out of the fog. He whips over into his half lane. We all cruise past each other. It's just amazing how quickly you acclimatize to the circumstances that exist. I mean, you know, it's not too hard to integrate yourself into the way things happen where you are. I mean, I can see how people adapt really quickly. So, you know, driving to the coast and going to the coast was kind of, oh well, I needed to do it. I needed a place to go and vent and be alone for a while, so at least I had fun getting there.